Hi everyone, it's Kristi. Welcome back. I wanted to do a fun, quick, put together journal. I think you'll like this one. It's completely different. If you don't like super grungy, I suppose you could do this without the grunge, but I'm following a tutorial by Susie, I think it's McGuire, over at Creative Cafe Girl, and she said this was the easiest journal she's ever put together, and I just love it. It's so creative and interesting, and I have all of this leftover ephemera from the Honey Blossom kit, because as you recall, I made the little beekeeper's notebook, and I used most of the background pages, and I do realize I need to come in here and ink. Somebody had asked if I had a video on how to put these together. I do not, but I will tell you, I took all of the pages and folded them in half so that the design, this is the folded piece, the design is on the inside. Then I glued back to back to back on the white sides. Now, I will give you a word of advice. If you just try to glue them on top of each other in one big stack, they will skew, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So I would suggest that you take the first two and glue those together, and then take the next two and glue those together, and the next two and glue those together until you go through. Then start over again and take those sets of two and glue those together back to back, and then there'll be four now, and then glue those sets of four together. You'll have a nicer, flatter spine. Now, I will say that I did line them up with the spine, but then that leaves this uneven. So you could line them up here and not worry about the spine, especially if you're going to cover it with fabric, because you can't see if my spine is askew or not. So there you go. But because we used the background pages on this journal, I want to use the ephemera in this journal, and this journal is made out of tea-dyed paper. That is it. I'm using 28 pound. And Susie mentioned this in her video. I will leave the link to her video below. It depends on the paper you're using as far as the weight of the paper. It also depends on, what you've done. Now see, I've tea-dyed these. 28 pound is a pretty thick paper. If you're using 20 pound paper, you could probably get more pieces. But for this project, we're going to do 12. And the middle section will have 4 pieces. 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4. That one should be folded. What happened here? Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 8 is in the first section, and then 4 will be in the center section. And you can see that I got completely different results with this tea dyeing adventure. I used 2 family-size tea bags. I did save them. I did iron them. I wouldn't advise ironing them until they are completely dry, because it did get a little tacky, stuck to my iron. However, I've stopped using the coffee so much because the instant coffee has something in it. When I try to iron my pages, it's sticky, and the pages will stick to my iron even if it's on a lower temp. I have to have it at a higher temp to get it flat, but most of the time I have more success not ironing my papers at all, and I just stick them in a magazine holder like this. It's from holding magazines. I got these at Dollar Tree. I'll just cram my paper in there, and if it sits there long enough, it gets flat-ish enough. But when I'm in a hurry, I just, I let them get about halfway dry, and then I'll iron them. It's a little bit quicker than baking them in the oven. But anyway, whatever way you do it, you're going to need 4 for the center and 8 for the main part. And then I forgot I need an envelope. So let's see what I've got in my envelope. I've got these. Gosh, I wish I had a decorative one. Oh well, no biggie. So we will be using a bag as well. So, what's first? Let's take the 4. Let's start with the 4. I'm going to put the bag aside for a second. We'll start with the 1, 2, 3, 4. And with the 4, those are going to be the center section. Now I'm going to make it like Susie did, and then next time I make it, you know, I may want to change it up, but right this time I'm going to do it like Susie did. Probably should not have folded that piece before I trimmed it, so let me swap that out with another page. Because the center section is trimmed down to 8 1/4 by 10 3/4, 1/4 inch on each side. So I'm going to try and do 2 pages here. And the one thing you'll notice when you do dye your papers, whether you use coffee, tea, or whatever, is that it will shrink a tad. Okay, just 1/4 inch. I'm not going to go in and worry about if it's exactly perfect, but you can see these papers don't line up because they all shrink differently. So I am going to line that up. I happen to know that this cutting line on the other side is 1/4 inch from the main cutting line. That's when you flip your little, I don't know what that thing is called. Okay, so now this is 1/4 inch smaller than these. Okay, well, not much on the top, but we'll try that again on these 2. So all 4 of these should be trimmed to 1/4 inch smaller than the main pages. So I'm going to do this. On the short side and on the long side. Make sure those are lined up pretty well. Okay. So now we will take these 4 pieces and we will fold them. And this is not an exact, this is not one of those books that everything's exact, so I'm just going to fold the whole stack in half. Let me use my bone folder here. And then I'm going to open this up, and I'm going to draw a pencil line on here. It will help us see where we're sewing. And the way I do that is I just kind of hold it. Hold it up and draw that pencil down in the crease. I'm not worried about it showing because I'm going to sew right over it. Alright, that's our center section. 8 1/4 by 10 3/4 ish, because of, I think we did okay. Looks like it shrunk more this way than this way, but that's okay. Then we trimmed all 4 pieces down, we folded it in half, and we drew the line here. This is going to be our sewing line for sewing this into the center of the signature. Okay, so now we have these other 8 pages. Now we only want to take the top one, and I'm going to fold this one as well, and I'm going to draw the line. Now I'm only going to draw a little tick at the top and the bottom. That's all you need. And I'm going to get my scoreboard out. And I'm going to very carefully draw a line on this 1/8 inch here. It looks like I didn't line my paper. Well, you know, the paper kind of shrinks, so either way, I probably should have taken in that you can see here, this is centered. Down here, not so much. So I should have put that there. Let's see if I can meet up in the middle. Oops, see, that's what I knew was going to happen. There we go. So I can take off that second line. So maybe draw halfway up and stop. Or just make sure, I should have done this on a purple line. See, if I had lined it up to begin with, I would have been fine. So, but basically what you're going to end up with is a 1/4 inch spine. It still doesn't look right down here. Let's go back. I'm being careful with this lead because I don't want to poke through the paper. Yeah, I guess that's good. It seems a little bit wider at the top, but that's okay. I'm not going to freak out over it. So we will sew the 8 pages together on these 2 outside lines. Then we will come back with these 4 pages and we will line them up between the center lines, and we will sew the center signature in. Now I forgot to mention, I got a bag, but the bag goes on here to separate the 2 sections. So let's fold that over. Oh, this one seems to be torn. Let me get a different one. I don't know what these bags are from. I'm not sure. This one's torn as well. So let's use one of these bigger ones. I have these bigger ones that I got from Hobby Lobby. And I think, yeah, those are plastic coated, so it's a little thicker than I would like, but that's okay. I think if I sew slow, I can make it work. So I'm going to fold this back this way, and I'm going to go ahead and use that whole tab thing. I don't want to cut that off. I don't need this anymore. So I just want to fold that, and then I am going to trim this just on the edge, because as you guessed it, we're going to use that as a pocket. See if that came off. Nope. I need to figure out how to change the blade on this cutter. Okay. So that's going to go on this section as well. Now, Susie used some like tacky tape, repositional tacky tape, to hold this down. I'll probably maybe washi tape it down, and then let's do that really quick. So I want to make sure it stays, everything stays together here. Maybe I'll do the, no, that doesn't work. You have to do it flat. Okay, I just want to make sure that the bag is on that fold line and tape it down. I'll go up a little bit. Alright, so where's my washi? Right here. And that way it won't slide around while I'm sewing. Just gonna washi that down. Washi is supposed to be, oops, supposed to be repositionable. I have found that it sticks when you don't want, and it doesn't stick when you do want. So I usually will use glue with it. But there we go. All right. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. So I'm going to go to the machine, and I guess I should paper clip these together or something. Oh, I'm running out of paper clips. What can I make with this box? Any ideas? I bought a whole case of these paper clips, so I have a ton of them because I had a hard time finding them. All right, so I'm going to stack these together. Did I fold the whole group? No, I did not. I only folded the middle one, so I'm just going to stack those together. And because of the, you know, like I said, because of the shrinkage of tea dyeing and what have you, they don't exactly line up perfectly. So I'm not even going to try to worry about that. But I am going to put several paper clips because I don't want them to slide while I am sewing that down. And I have a whole box of paper clips here, so. All right. I think I'm going to put a couple more right close to this because this is where I don't want it to slide. Oh, I was watching something the other day. Leave It to Beaver. My husband and I watch that in the mornings before he goes to work while we're having our coffee. And somebody was looking for something in a drawer, and they found, or it was a paper clip. They were looking for a paper clip, and they pulled them out, and they were all strung together in a big old long string, and it cracked me up. They're like, oh, Wally strings them together while he's on the phone. Makes me laugh. Oh, all right. So I'm going to go to the sewing machine, and I am going to sew on these two outside lines. I'm going to lengthen my stitch as long as it will go, which for mine is 5.0. I don't know what that means, but that's what it says on my machine because it's digital. And then I'll be right back. Okay, so here we are. You can see we have the stitching, and I've done it on the, it comes out about 1/8 of an inch for each stitch when I do it on the longest. And I did forget to backstitch up here, so I went back over it. That's why that thread is hanging out. I usually don't have a lot of knotting unless I'm backstitching, because I use leaders and enders to keep, because I find that when I get these threads getting inside my machine, you know, I don't get the cool knots on my paper necessarily. I get my sewing machine all botched up. So okay, so we are going to put this down. Let's take these off. We're going to use these again. Slide those all off. Doesn't matter which we choose for the front or back. We are just, now we've taped that on, and we're just going to line this up bottom and top with that other line. And this will be a little trickier to sew because now we have, well, 12 pages, plus we have that bag on there. So see, it's already moved on me. So this one, we might have to go super slow stitching. You know, you could do this with, you know, hand bind, you know, doing like a pamphlet stitch or whatever. It would work as well. So do it whichever way you like. If you sew, sew. If you don't, you know, you can hand sew it. Whatever works. You don't have to do it the same way. I'm just doing it the way Susie did it because I thought it was really super cool. All right, so I'm going to keep an eye on this so it doesn't slide anymore. And this one, yeah, see, I need to move this one already too. Maybe it'll be easier pulling it from the end. There we go. All right, so I am going to now go sew directly down the middle, and I'll be back. I have sewn down the middle very carefully. Now, my sewing machine did a lot of clicking and clacking when I got to that bag because it's like, hey, this is too thick. So I use the hand wheel on the side with barely any pedal just to kind of keep it going, and it will click, click, click because it doesn't want to do it. Maybe a sharper needle would work. Somebody's going to ask me what a leader and an ender is. That is what this is. I always have one of these in my machine, and so when I start stitching on something, I don't have to worry about the strings getting sucked into the machine because they're attached to this. And then when I get to the end, I pull out my thread and I run one of these back in the machine. So there's one in there now, and it'll be at the beginning of the next project. These are just paper cutoffs because that's mostly what I sew is paper. So all right, let's get these paper clips off. This feels nice. I think I'm gonna like this. Thank you, Susie, for a wonderful idea. I love your creativity. Okay, so you can see here is my spine with the 3 stitching lines. Okay, so now we can close these pages. We can take off this washi tape. Carefully, because if I count on it not sticking, it's going to rip my paper. So I want to do that very carefully. Just take that off like so. Come under it, it works a little bit better. And if you tear at a 90-degree angle, I find that helps too. That's how you can remove labels easier as well. Okay, I'm not saving that. All right, so we're going to fold this in, and we're going to come along this side and fold that in as well. Okay, and then this is going to be, I'm going to bring this up to the edge of these papers, like so. Kind of right at on that stitching line there. And if you don't do that, then of course your middle section is going to be sticking out quite a bit. So, because I thought about that, I thought, well, you wouldn't have to trim them, but I think if you don't trim them, it's going to hang out. So, up to you if you don't mind that. I think I'm going to have to do these a couple at a time. Let's try doing that. And then fold them on that sewing line. Look how nice and flat it lays. This will be definitely a writing journal. There is going to be ephemera in it, but there is a lot of writing space. And the ephemera is going to be sporadic. Oops. So I'm just kind of pulling that over, wrapping it around. Okay, this side we'll do the same. And if you need to take more than 1/4 of an inch off that center section, you can always trim that now if you wanted to. Okay. I'm going to be putting some ribbon and or maybe seam binding or lace or stuff on the trims on the edge, so I'm not really going to worry about that sticking out. Probably probably, is that a word? Probably could have taken off 1/8 of an inch from the length. I mean 1/8, 1/2 of an inch from the length. It looks good here. It looks like it's inside, but when you fold it, you do have a little bit of that. But that's how our normal journals look anyway. So anyway, all right, so let's put a piece of trim. I'm going to use my, what you call it, my bag of scrappy bits. One of many. What I'm looking for is I have some of this that's already the right size. I want to check and see if it'll work. This linen is very thready. I need to put some of this aside also, so I'm just going to keep that thread. All right. I have lace falling out all over me. And a rose. Okay. So I was going to see if this would be wide enough to wrap around without having to worry about it lifting, because this is going to close this way and it's going to get a little fatter. So I think I want to go a little bigger. This is 1 inch. I think I want to go 1.5 inches. So I'm going to measure 1.5 inches. Maybe let's do 1.75 inches. That way I can have some fluff, right? So I've got 1 inch and 3/4. That'll give me a little tie as well. How much do I need? I'll do twice the amount I need in case I want to do another one. I'll do right there. Oh, it's only that much longer, so I'll just do the whole thing. And then more strings. These are nice for behind butterflies or birds. You can just make a little nest. Okay, so I've got a tie here. All right. So let's glue that down. I want to go about 1/4 inch, I think. I like to have a little bit of hangover. So I want to go about 1/4 inch longer than the book. And that'll give me about yeah, that's going to work much better. That'll give me about 1/8 of an inch to play with top and bottom. Okay. So let's take some of this off. I don't save all of the ravelly bits, but I do save some when I'm working on a project because I might want to use it shortly. All right, let's get some glue. So this is going to go, how far? About 1/2 inch on either side. I can always add more. So let me get that glue down on the tip. And you could do this so much grungier, and like I said, do a different paper if you don't want the grunge or if you don't want the tea dyed. You could use designer papers for this and do the same binding method. But basically this book is bound. So now all we have left to do is just decorate. So let's come along here and make our little circles. About 1/2 inch. Going over the spine. This will also keep it from unraveling. Sorry about the lighting today, guys. It's kind of overcast. We've had a couple rainy days. Actually, yesterday morning was beautiful, and then we had thunderstorms in the afternoon. But they passed quickly, so that was kind of nice. All right, so I'm just going to make sure that's not too thick. And then I'm going to add this. Let's do it before the glue dries. But I need to see, I think I'll stand up. Might be easier if I see it. So I'll put my finger in the middle and attach that to the spine. Like such. Okay. So you want to just let that sit for a second. Doesn't take very long to dry. But there we go, guys. Now you can see I'm going to have to come back in here. But I'm going to leave that because I don't know exactly what I want to put on the cover yet. And I may want to tuck something under that. So I'm not going to glue that piece down. But you get the idea. This book is bound and ready to go. And we have, what, 48 sides here to decorate or do whatever. Nice writing space. So next time we will start making some ephemera to stick in here. I want to make some trims as well, and I think I'll take some of my ribbons and things and kind of plan out what we want to do, and we'll just go straight through and finish it. Because this is not a complicated project. I'm taking longer because I'm explaining everything. But if I was just doing this, it would have taken me 10 minutes. So that's wonderful. I love that. I love stuff that you can do in just a short time, start to finish. It's difficult for me because I'm a procrastinator, and if I have a project that takes too long to do, I don't want to complete it. Point in case, the Christmas recipe books for my kids that are still sitting up here from 2 years ago, Christmas of 2019. So, yeah, one of these days I will get back to it. But maybe I need to finish it Friday, huh? I don't know. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. See you next time.